Okay, great. So we're recording now. So let's just start by having everyone agree that we can share this video publicly with a thumbs up or a verbal yes.
Yes, from IC2.
Yes, from Cassidy.
Yes, from Tatiana.
Okay, great. Thank you, everybody. That's really great. So let's just start out with some claps. Yay, team. Great job. Everyone's rocking. We're doing it. We're diving into new areas. It's going to be really exciting to share some of the developments with you guys today. Before we get started, do we have, well, first everyone's on gallery view here, I know. Do we have our minute taker for this evening?
I can take them.
You can take them. I appreciate that, Cassidy. Thank you so much. I want to have our primary and our secondary like regular for this meeting. So I apologize that I never keep track of it. I know we've talked about it before. Haven't we set up a primary and a secondary before in this meeting?
So I've been the primary. Hannah used to be the secondary, but I don't think we reassigned it since she left the project.
Got it. Got it. Okay. So let's see if we can assign a secondary now. Who here is putting in the most hours this week? Let's go ahead and take a look at that as a kind of gauge of who has a little more time to do it, perhaps. Oops. Oh, I just had it and I lost it. Let me go back. Okay, great. So for this week, we have Maria. It's like you have the most hours. So do you mind being the backup, Maria, going forward right now for at least a little while in here? Okay, great. So Cassidy will be the primary, Maria will be the backup. That's awesome. Thank you guys. I really appreciate that. So let's dive into the agenda. Okay, great. So as I've shared with you guys, you know, the agenda, this agenda is made up collectively by everyone on the executive team. So I really would like to see each of you contributing something that you'd like to have brought up, you know, on behalf of the team. So keep that in mind every week. I know some of you are still getting your feet wet with the teams, and I appreciate that. But keep that in mind that this is your meeting to have you bring the interests, concerns, opportunities, whatever it looks like of your teams, of your team members to this meeting. So having said that, we're going to go through the team reports really quick because then I have a bunch of other things that I want to share with you. Before we do that, let's just take a moment to thank and congratulate Katie on helping to present for Dr. Brown's class today. Thank you, Katie, for taking the time and sharing. I think that was really valuable for the students to hear from another student. I think they really appreciated that. So that was really great. Thank you for doing that. And it was really great presentation with Dr. Brown's class today. I think that I may present again on Wednesday because I feel like I could polish it up a little bit and then we could use it a little bit more for some of our promotional things that we want to do. So we'll see. I may do that. We'll have to just see how things flow this week. But it was great and it helped me organize a bunch of things. And who here got to see the videos that I posted this morning? Who has seen those two videos? Nobody? Oh my goodness. Okay. All right. I hope you guys are busy. I appreciate it. I appreciate how busy you guys are. Let me show you the first 2-minute video because the other one is 11 minutes. So you'll watch the 11-minute video later. But let me show you the first 2-minute video because I'm starting to get, you know, some of this stuff down tighter and we're starting to get closer and closer to our like final polished information. So this 2-minute video you'll see is pretty tight for one concept after another in terms of what we're doing. So let's take a look at that really quick, and then we'll get into all of the team meetings and our team reports.
Right now, we have so many different issues that require such urgent attention, from climate to the pandemic to plastics to deforestation to pollution, on and on and on and on, that we as a society have to give our best effort right now. And what a best effort would look like is it would look like all the entities, all the individuals, the businesses, the organizations that are willing to put anything into a collective pot to be able to pledge what they would put in, so that then the experts in that issue area can assess all of what's available in terms of resources of time, energy, organization, finances, to work with solutions development experts, strategic planning and execution experts that work with those issue experts to be able to develop comprehensive collective strategic solutions that strategically use all of the pledged available resources. And all of those projects are then, all of those plans are then broken down into projects and actions and sub-actions down to the nano action level, where all the individuals that are interested in supporting can provide support just 10 seconds at a time, a minute at a time, 10 minutes, 10 hours, whatever it is that they're willing to pledge on a regular basis or a one-time basis, can then be plugged into the development, the vetting of the solutions, so that the solutions themselves that are agreed upon are the ones that are collectively agreed upon and collectively funded. And then those top 2, 3, 4 solutions can then get executed effectively to be able to create the results that we are collectively seeking. And that is the most effective and most efficient use of resources right now. And that is what we could do as our best effort. And that's what we need right now.
Okay, so what do you guys think about that?
I think, yeah, go ahead.
I was just gonna say it's certainly a lot more coherent and flows a lot better than the other ones.
Okay, good. I appreciate that feedback. That's good. Maria?
Yeah, I was gonna say that too, and I think that what you're saying is really like interesting. So it will be interesting to do the transcript for that one.
To do the what for that one?
The transcript for that video, that will be interesting.
I'm sorry, I'm still not hearing you. The transcript.
The
transcript, you said?
yeah.
Got it. Yes, the processing. Good, thank you. I appreciate that. Awesome. I want to hear from all of you, so what do the rest of you think about it as well?
I really liked it, especially because it's like 2 minutes, and I think it's a good video that we can post sometime later. So yes.
I appreciate that. Yeah, I've put it up. It's one of the few that I've made public now because I've started to share it with people. And the other one was the other one that I sent you, those of you that are on the combined team. So the other one is similarly a good overview, but just gets into more detail. So it's 11.5 minutes and it goes into more detail, but it covers a lot of things. So that's a really good one as well. So we've got those 2 videos now that we can work with. These are the ones that we're processing. So like you said, Maria, we can turn them into, you know, something tighter or come up with a script if we want it to look more like me sitting in front of the camera like this or whatever we're going to do. So that's great. And I've been starting to share these out. I'll get into it more after we get into after the team reports, but I just wanted to kind of give some context for where we are and what we're doing now. So let's dive right into the teams. Let's start with the recruitment team. So Cassidy, thank you so much. Let's give a hand to Cassidy and Tatiana and Isatu and Mariana for the great work in the recruitment team for really expanding what we're doing recruitment wise. So that's awesome. Very exciting. Take it away, Cassidy.
Yeah, thanks, Jared. Yeah, we've been doing a lot of exciting stuff, like Jared said, with the recruitment team lately. The biggest, like we talked about in the all team meeting last week, being that we've finally started sending out emails and contacting career services offices. I know on my end, I haven't gotten any responses yet, but hopefully some of the other team members did. We'll talk about in the recruitment team meeting tonight, sort of how we're going to continue to follow up and things like that. We're also going to be working, like we said last week, about getting a new handshake posting back up that will hopefully attract a lot more students to kind of get that overlap, like Jared said, for the spring semester, but sort of hopefully getting them in prior to, so that we're able to teach them before sort of our cohort transitions out of the project. And then lastly, we the QR code that Isatu came up with was awesome, and we got some traction in the beginning, and it's sort of starting to trickle out. So we've been working to brainstorm how best to capture those students and actually, you know, transition them into team members. So we'll probably also touch base about that more tonight in the recruitment team. But overall, we have a lot going on, a lot of different avenues to hopefully boost recruitment here really soon.
Great. Awesome. Thank you, Cassidy. Really, really appreciate it. That's great. So now let's have the business team, Tatiana and Isatu. Thank you, guys. Let's also give a round of applause for the business team and the work they've been doing with ClickUp and all the additional work that the business team is working on. So thank you, guys.
Okay, I can talk about what we're doing so far. So for ClickUp, we kind of started looking around at the functionality of it and got a better grasp of it. However, in our team meeting today, we kind of discussed maybe reaching out to someone who might have like a consultant that might be able to like get everything planned out for us and set up, just because, you know, we're not exactly experts at it and we can be prioritizing other things within the project. And one of those things was to create as we were shifting goals, one of the biggest things that we decided to do was create a job description that would go towards business team members for recruitment, and another one that would go towards, you know, finding someone who is an expert in project management systems or has experience in something like that, just so that we can get them onboarded and, you know, get them to help us out with getting everything set up.
Yeah, thank you for sharing that, Tatiana. You know, it was a little bit of a realization for me as we were going through everything today, and Tatiana and Isatu were walking me through what they've done with ClickUp, and Isatu did a really great walkthrough video, a couple walkthrough videos for us of showing us how to use ClickUp. And, you know, I was getting, as we were going through it, because we were talking about, you know, what they'd learned this past week and what they could learn this coming week and that sort of thing. And I was just realizing that we're spending so much time when it's only the two of them right now in the business team, and they have very limited hours. Tatiana has 3 hours for the business team. Isatu only has 1 hour for the business team this week. And so, you know, essentially all the time has been getting dominated by, you know, ClickUp and Slack and that sort of thing, because we wanted to get it out the door and get it, you know, installed and all of that. But I think at this point, you know, with us getting closer to the end of the semester and the business team having other responsibilities that it needs to focus on as well, I think we're getting to down the rabbit hole with the ClickUp and Slack and all of that sort of thing. And I think we need to kind of zoom back out a little bit and make sure that the business team is covering all of the business team responsibilities. So that's kind of where we came to the end of the discussion today. So like Tatiana said, I think that the recruitment team can help find people that we can add to the business team that can help us take on more of these things. We can, like Tatiana was saying, recruit outside of students for any, support out in the world for people who have this expertise and can help us and want to. So we'll do that. Like she said, we're going to create some kind of job description or posting that we can put on the website, as well as, again, send to students that are, specializing in project management or have some experience in project management, that sort of thing. So that's where we're going with that, with the business team. I just want to give you guys a little bit more of a context of the shifting and the reason for the shifting and that sort of thing. So any questions or any comments or feedback about any of that? No? Okay, great. So let's continue with the combined team, and I'll let all three leaders, share whatever they'd like to share to begin with about what we're doing with the combined team. And then I'll share a little bit more about where we are with it and a little bit more about where we're going with it. So which of you would like to start to begin with in terms of what we're doing with the combined team?
I can start. Yeah, so in the combined team, we are focusing on getting, as you said in the Thursday meeting, just getting a whole video out, all, chopped up and put together how we want to, and, working out the kinks of the new system of transcript first, then minutes. Did we decide if we're doing minutes? I'm sorry, I kind of got lost in the video.
Yeah, we decided that for these videos that we're processing now, that we didn't need to do minutes necessarily. And now it's switched a couple times because we switched which videos we're processing a couple times since then, right? But basically we were saying that we wanted to, get to an end product, like you're saying, chop a, in this case, 11-minute video down to 2 to 3 minutes. And even, this 2.5-minute video that I just showed you could maybe be, between 1.5 minutes or 2 minutes or something like that. It's really the longer video that's more of the concern. So actually we should probably specify that in the chat tonight, that the smaller video, it's smaller. You can do work on it, but the real thing we want to do is maybe take this 11-minute video and cut it down to a 3-minute video, something like that, 2 to 3-minute video. And have the team, see what's best coming out of that video. So that's the first thing. And yes, thank you, Katie, for acknowledging where we're at and what we're doing with that. Mariana, Maria, what else would you guys like to add about where we're at with the team and what we're doing?
Yeah, like Katie said, we're doing the video processing. And so now the first one that we need to do, for the beginning, it's the 11-minute one. And then I believe we're going to the 27, right?
Well, right now, what we, decided was to prioritize this new 11-minute video that I just shared with you guys this morning. Yeah. So that one and the 2-minute video I just showed you just now. But again, it's the 11-minute one. And let me just show you what it looks like. It looks like this. So it's very different because you guys have seen that most of the videos are in the middle of the night. This is the only video I've published so far where, it's sunrise already. So you guys are getting to, so this is the one video, and I'll even put it in the chat here right now. But this is the one that we want to have the team focus on and really, see what we can edit this down to. Okay. Okay, and Maria, what else would you like to share?
Yeah, so as we get better with this video processing, we are gonna be uploading them on our website, on social media. That will actually help us to have everything better for the audience to see what the project is about.
Yeah, absolutely. I really appreciate that. And that's really great. It's really great that you're saying that. And I just want to show you guys, because this is the thing, and this is partly why, you know, the priority keeps shifting in terms of which video, is that you guys are getting the sense that, you know, a lot of days I'm out walking and now recording when I'm walking. And that means that a lot more content's getting produced like every day, right? And because we haven't achieved mastery of our processing yet, we're still taking a few days to process, you know, whatever we're processing. In the meantime, I'm creating all of these new videos, and, you know, some of them are better and, you know, more up to date than the ones from just a few days ago. So even just to show you, you know, to give you guys a visual and an idea and understand why really it's important that this week, what we do is we achieve this level of mastery so that we can actually have all of the, oh, it's not going to be in there actually. We can actually have, you know, take all of these videos that are getting produced each day and divide the videos up amongst the people on the team and actually do like daily processing, daily videos. So we've got like, you know, a flow happening each day. There's some videos produced, you know, keeps going. So this was just, I wanted to show you guys from October 31st. So it starts here, and this is going backwards in time as it gets darker. But I think I got up to 18 videos that I published yesterday. So, you know, some of them are like 20 seconds, but some of them are like 11 minutes and 4 minutes and 5 minutes. And a bunch of these aren't going to be needing to be processed, because that 2-minute video I just showed you was kind of like my 5th take. So I kept reshooting it to get it tighter and tighter and tighter. But I just want to kind of give you guys the idea that, you know, we've been doing it as a team to get good at it, to understand it, to learn what we're doing. But when tomorrow comes, when everybody shares, you know, whatever we're going to have to share for tomorrow, then that's going to mark where now the whole team's not going to be working together. Maybe there'll be pairs or something like that, but we'll be handing out all these videos and, you know, saying, Johnny, you work on this video, and Alexis, you work on this video, and Sabah, you work on this video, and all that sort of stuff. Okay, is everybody on board with that? Does that sound good to everybody? Okay, great. Any other questions or comments about anything with the teams? Okay, great. So let me dive back in. Okay, so let me first of all share with you what's happening with the Leadership Council recruitment, and even the Leadership Council, because I'm not sure I even had exactly the whole concept of the Leadership Council down on even Friday, last time I was connected with you guys, compared to now. There was a lot of evolution of that over the weekend. And so basically, and it's still evolving in my head, but the way I'm looking at it right now, this Leadership Council is a council of professionals, energy holders. There's a wide range of people that are coming into my mind that are going to be a part of this council, which is essentially going to be like the group that's helping to lead us into the world, if that makes sense. So, you know, because we've been relatively closed to this point, right? So we don't have a lot of connections or relationships built in the world right now. So what we're doing is we're essentially using this council of people who have connections in the world and relationships and all of that, to have them be very committed to the project and to what we're doing in the project, and then for them to be able to help us, you know, recruit the people that we're looking for and find the people that we're looking for in terms of, like, for example, this project management person that we just mentioned. Maybe we say we want to add a project management person to the Leadership Council. So who knows a project management person that we can invite to be on the Leadership Council? Let me take a quick drink. So any questions about any of that? So I have some videos that I shot, and I'm going to be publishing them tomorrow. I've been adding a whole bunch of like expectations and that sort of thing for the Leadership Council. So what we're going to do with the Leadership Council, we're going to have 2 live meetings a month. So it's going to be the first and the third Thursday after our team meeting is over at 7:30. Then from 8 to 9:30, the first and the third Thursday, we're going to have this Leadership Council meeting. And so this is going to be, I'm setting a target to have, if we can, to have 50 Leadership Council members by Thanksgiving, ideally by our second meeting, which will be 2 weeks from Thursday. We'll see if we can hit that number by then. And then I really want to have 100 as quickly as we can, whether that's in December or January or what have you. I think we'll have to see. 50 is a lot by itself, but the reason that we're having so many is to have so much input and so much, support and so much connections and that sort of thing. And we want, people in all these different areas, right? People that are experts in recruitment and business and financing and marketing and social media and on and on and on and on, right? All these different professionals that can direct us to resources and connect us with people and all those sorts of things. So that's where we're at with it. And we're starting by just, mining my network of connections, which is pretty vast. I've shared with you guys before, it's been completely dormant for over 5 years, which is just, kind of weird, that people haven't heard from me at all or seen me on Facebook for 5 years. And now all of a sudden they're getting a message from me, but that's what it is. So, hey, I'm back and I'm sending texts to all of my contacts in my phone. So I've got about 600 people that I've identified that I'm reaching out to. I've texted about 400 of them so far. And there's about, I don't know how many I'll actually follow up with. Let's say probably at least another 500 people on Facebook that I don't have cell phone numbers for that I'll probably be reaching out to at some point. Although it's the people in my phone that I have the closest connection to, or that are the ones that I'm reaching out to first. So I'm starting to hear back from all kinds of people. We're starting to get our first commitments from our Leadership Council, which is really, really great. And I'm also, so you guys know, I'm also adding a financial component to make sure that everybody who's joining is really committed and really wants to help model what we're doing. So you guys know, as we've talked about, that, when we launch this system, we're really going to ask and encourage everybody who's using the system and using the platform and benefiting from everything that we're doing to contribute like $25 a month as a minimum, as the crowdfunding to help build this out, so that as we have hundreds and thousands and millions of people, that we have a real budget that we can work with to do things, right? But if people don't have $25 a month, they can give $10 a month or $5 a month, or even nothing if they don't have, if they feel they don't have anything to give, they can still use the system. We'll have different levels of membership, of course. But for the leaders, because we want the leaders to really model this behavior that we all have to pool our resources and we all have to give some effort. And then when we do that, when we all pool our resources and we all give some effort, then we can actually create some really extraordinary results. So, to have them really modeling that, I'm asking for each of the leaders to provide $100 a month into the pot for 3 months. And that's the first commitment of the Leadership Council members. So they'll join, they'll provide $300 into our budget. They'll be a Leadership Council member for 3 months. And I'm kind of capping the commitment at 3 months at the moment, because I feel like maybe we're going to be evolving to a new structure or new councils or whatever it looks like, within about 3 months. So we'll kind of see where we are by 3 months from now. But that's what I'm doing in terms of, asking for leaders for commitment now. And that's, the leaders that are showing up to join the council are joining, in that way. They're providing a financial commitment. They're providing a commitment of their time to the meetings. They don't have to attend the meetings. Of course, we're strongly encouraging them to attend those 2 meetings a month, but if they can't make it or what have you, they can watch the Zoom, but they do have to at least watch the Zoom to continue to be a part of the Leadership Council. And then the other expectations are, again, that they're helping us through their connections, that they're, basically being champions for the project, right? It's people who really are super excited and feel like this is amazing, and they want to tell all of their, people that they know and connections, and they're being essentially like our ambassadors out into the world. So that's, essentially what we're doing with the council right now. And it's very exciting to me that like this is now bringing, this whole level of realism to the project, right? Like we've been talking about, that it's not all, theoretical anymore. Now all these people are showing up for all of these different things. So that's really, really great. And we're going to start creating some unique opportunities with them as well that I've been thinking about. And this is where I want to get your guys' thoughts and feedback. I'm thinking about having the Leadership Council on the first Thursday of each month. So every other of their meetings, to have like a, let's give it a range, just let's say 5 to 15 minute presentation from you guys, from the student teams. Let's just say from the teams, because we'll start having some Leadership Council members and other professionals joining the teams. But let's say that the teams will put together some, like 5 to 15 minute presentation, like what would be appropriate for this first one. If we were doing it for this one, it's too short notice for this one, but it would be like, showing them what we're doing with the video processing, right? To do like a walkthrough, kind of like the video that Katie created at the walkthrough through the video processing, that sort of thing. So it's kind of just I'm calling it actually our showcase, where those of us that are on the teams actually doing, the work within the teams, then get to showcase our work to this Leadership Council, so that they're like, totally up to speed with what we're doing and can then share it out into the world. So do you guys like the idea of doing that and giving us kind of like a presentation opportunity to show, this distinct audience of, hey, here's what we're doing, that sort of thing? Yeah, you guys like that idea? Cool. I appreciate that. I think it's really good to help us, we obviously show each other within the meetings and that sort of thing, but I think it's really nice to have, this audience of professionals that are here to support us, that we get to present to and show them, what we're doing and what support we're asking of them and that sort of thing. So sound good? Okay, cool. Cool, I appreciate that. So the other thing, let me share in the agenda here so you guys can look back at it later if you want. So we'll do that on the first Thursday of every month. The other thing is to have a grand showcase once a semester, basically, is what I'm thinking. Hold on one second. So I'm imagining at the end of each semester, so in this case, it'd be the first Thursday of December, that we do a grand showcase where it's essentially you guys, the teams, showing off like all we've done all semester. So it's kind of like a semester wrap up. So and we're doing it, and it'd probably be more, in this case, it'd probably be more than 15 minutes. It'd probably be more like a half hour or something like that. But basically what this does is this will end up giving us like a half hour concentrated, like everything like we created and accomplished this semester kind of thing, right? And then that way we can use that half hour of video to show, prospective members the following semester, or anybody else that's interested in knowing what we're doing and how we're doing it. I think like this will be a really good concentrated way to show what our work, looks like and how it all came together. So what do you guys think about that? You guys like that idea? Yeah, okay, great. So any comments about either of those ideas, the once a month or the once a semester idea?
Would these be live or recorded presentations?
I think they would be live. There can be recorded parts that we can share in advance if we want, but I think it would be more effective to do a live presentation with a live audience and then be able to answer questions and all of that. And so basically it would be where the teams could kind of decide like who was going to show up for that meeting and who was going to present, excuse me, not everybody would have to be present. everyone would be welcome. So anybody on, the teams that wants to attend that meeting to see it live and to answer questions and to have interaction can be there, but they wouldn't have to. So, the research team could decide that, Katie was going to go ahead and do the presentation for the research team or something like that. It would be up to the team by team basis, basically. Sound good? Okay, cool. Okay, great. So I'm excited about that. I think that's going to be a real interesting thing. And then the other part that I put, and maybe we make this super grand showcase, is what I'm thinking that since we haven't done this grand showcase before, that oh, and the other part of the grand showcase is the once a month thing, is that in addition to the leadership council, that all past team members are invited as well. So this has been, we've been talking about it for a while, like how do we engage past team members and keep them engaged as contributing members and that sort of thing. And I think that this is a good opportunity because it can be kind of like a presentation and also kind of like a reunion, where anybody from the past that just wants to kind of show up and see people again and, connect and see what we're doing can kind of tune in and just keep with us in the flow. So what do you guys think about that idea? You guys like that idea? Cool. Okay, great. And so the other part of it, again, for this particular one, for this December, I'm considering, and again, I want to get your feedback, since we didn't have a grand showcase in past semesters, to invite the past team members from past semesters to actually do their grand showcase in December if they want, so that they can show off the work that they did while they were here in the project, and that it can live in this format so that they could always send that video to a potential prospective employer or somebody that they wanted to connect with or whatever. They could show their participation and what they created in the Vaccine Considerations Project through this grand showcase presentation. So what do you guys think about that idea? Sound good? Okay, good. Okay, good. So any other questions or comments or thoughts, anything you guys want to share about the showcase idea, the grand showcase? You guys like the name of it? Probably should run it through the outreach team or something. So you guys like showcase for the monthly and then grand showcase for the semester? Yeah? Okay. We can keep thinking about if we like something better, but it rolled off the tongue for me for those things. Okay, great. Okay, good. Let's go ahead and let's continue. Okay, so the Nano Actions. I want to take a minute or two to, or maybe 10, to get into what the Nano Act, what we want to do with the Nano Actions. So part of it, you guys are kind of getting it already to a certain degree, but so let's take a look, at the most developed example for us, which is where we've taken the idea of reaching out to experts, and we've broken that down into the Nano Actions. And just remind you guys, the Nano Actions we've broken that down to are find articles about the topic area that we're interested in, enter those articles into the system, go through those articles to tag them, go through those articles to pull out the experts, Google the experts to get their contact information, and then go ahead and send the information to them, right? So each one of those steps that I described is a nano action that we've identified that either we could do in-house or somebody else could do in terms of entering articles or pulling out experts or whatever. So you guys get all the concept around that, right? Is there anybody that has any questions or comments or clarification around the nano actions? Okay, good. Thumbs up from Tatiana. Cool. Okay, so what we're figuring out how to do with it is that we as a team, as we're continuing to share with the world all of these concepts, and the world is like, what do you mean by that? What do you mean by nano? How do I apply nano actions to my business? what we're going to do is we're going to be modeling internally how to break, projects and actions down into nano actions like I just did, right? And so we're going to start to use some models to show the world what it looks like to take a business process and break it down into nano actions and then be able to use those nano actions. So one of the first models that we're going to use is from I guess you could say a mission that's being executed in the world by an old dear friend of mine, Johnny Regan, who's one of the first people who's joining the Leadership Council. And Johnny, just to give you guys a quick context, and then you'll understand kind of where we're going with this. Johnny used to have an organization in Miami, a networking group called Vision Miami. And what Johnny did, and this was back in like 2000, oh wow, it was even earlier than I thought it was. This is back in, I connected with them back in 2005, I think it was now. And they were around a little bit before that as well. So back around that time, 2005, 6, 7, Johnny was having this networking group. I found them. I got really connected into it and was working closely with Johnny and some of the other people that were helping to lead it and organize it and that sort of thing. And what the networking group did was really encourage people to find their vision, find their passion, and then be able to understand how you like put a vision in your head, like out into the world. Very close to what we're doing right now, right, within the project. So that's in part why we're working with Johnny. Also because there's a lot of what we're doing within this project that I, learned and practiced with Vision Miami and with Johnny. So this is a little bit of a, a thank you and a tribute to that early development work. And so what we're going to do, let me show you the video, the one video that he's produced already. And then it's just a 2-minute video, and then I'll explain what we're going to do with it. Actually, hold on one second. Let me set this up a little better first. Okay, so here's Johnny's vision. Orphan children in South Africa seeing their first movie, okay? And so here's the video that he sent me. And so Johnny has this vision of movies and popcorn for all like children around the world. Not just, fed and clothed, but like enjoying movies and enjoying popcorn is Johnny's vision. This is what it looks like. Are you guys able to see that? Because I'm not seeing you when I do that. Yeah, okay, good.
My name is Zoe and my dream is to become a teacher. My name is Peyton. One day I want to become a policeman. My name is Aya. One day I want to be a builder.
Landy, thank you so much for being the host. It's such an honor to be here. What I want to find out from you tonight is Why? Why did you feel you want to do this tonight for the children?
I love to do this for children because I love children and I love to see them smile and the wow on their faces. Because my dream was to become a social worker and there was no money, so I had to drop that. And so yeah, I invest in children.
I was just realizing, I hope we don't get a copyright thing for that being in our video. We might have to change that. Okay, so you guys get the idea of it. And the point of it that I was sharing with Johnny, because we're talking about, you know, ways that we could do things together. And so what I was starting to envision is this model that he wants to have of, you know, movies and popcorn for children, you know, all across Africa, the world, wherever it may happen, potentially and probably even starting in the United States as a first step, but that it can be a real formulaic model, right? That basically you can essentially find a point person, you know, in a location that they just follow, you know, step by step, 50-step process, but a lot of it doesn't have to be, you know, local to them, but can be, you know, remote and all of that. So I really see where we can break this down. I don't think it's too terribly complex. So I think we can use this as an example where we can break this whole thing down into these nano actions and then show people like, here's a real, you know, business with a real, you know, business process. And this is what it looks like to break a business process down into nano actions. Because what that whole process of taking business processes and breaking them down into nano actions, that's going to be a real necessary part of this whole, like, you know, using nano actions. Like, nano actions mean nothing unless you actually take things that you're doing and break it down into nano actions, right? So essentially we're going to have to start teaching the world how to break things down into nano actions. And the way that we're going to be teaching the world is we're going to be doing it ourselves, right? We're going to be modeling that. And we're going to be relatively soon, as we start really ramping this up, you know, recruiting people specifically for that. Like, people will be recruited to be like nano action consultants, essentially, right? Where the students will come in and then they'll be sent out to different businesses to do like consulting with them, like, let me understand how your business operates and what you do and what you need to get done. And then I'll come back to you with the whole, you know, nano action protocol that you need to implement in your business to be able to, you know, systematize your business process. Is everybody getting what I'm saying about all of that? Does that make sense to everybody? Okay, great. Great. So we're, yeah, so good. So we're developing essentially this mastery of nano action protocol, right? And we're just starting. So we've done it a little bit internally for us through this, you know, experts, reaching out to experts. Now we're going to start to apply it to like an outside, you know, business to show, you know, the world like how this gets applied like out in the real world. And then, you know, we internally will have some conversations with Johnny, because I've already been visioning, you know, maybe we should model this, like, for example, maybe in South Florida, since we have a number of people in South Florida first, and then a second model, you know, somewhere else in the United States. And then maybe we go ahead and bring it to, you know, another country in Africa or something like that, once we've gotten kind of a localized model down. So we'll talk about it and we'll figure it out. And this is going to continue, you know, for the next few months. So it's going to go, you know, even beyond where we are now. But I think what I'd like to do is I think I would like to have our kind of first draft as far as we can take this with Johnny by our showcase in December, so that we can show it at the grand showcase and show the other leadership council members and have it on video and all of that. So it's something that, you know, we're going to start to have in our team meetings in terms of figuring out like how to work it in. So I wanted to kind of share the whole concept with you guys and get your feedback and see what you guys think about this. Do you think that this is a good strategy and approach to go from where we are about the theory of nano actions to actually, you know, getting it out into the world by showing the world like how this gets applied in the real world? What do you guys think about that? Couple of thumbs up. I appreciate that. 3 thumbs up, 4 thumbs up. Who would like to say something about it as a comment? Can anybody think of any other ways to do it, or any other types of places that we might want to model nano actions? Any other kind of industries or processes that you guys can think of?
I can say I just think that it's a really good idea, and it's nice to, I think, maybe work with like nonprofits in a way, just so that, you know, you're able to, usually generally nonprofits have a mission in their mind, so like working to accomplish that could be something that like also improves, like, I guess, like our organization's idea, not like our brand as a whole, but also like doing greater things, so that could attract more people to us. So
yeah, I think that's a really good point. And that's the thing, is that as soon as we start to get any kind of like expertise around this, and that's why, again, I think with Johnny, I think it's going to be pretty straightforward. I don't think it's going to be overly complicated to do the type of things we want to do to set it up. You know, I'm imagining, like, for example, you know, that we want to like that Johnny wants to like rent out a theater, and so he needs to get, you know, certain sponsors locally, and then somebody that's going to run it, and, you know, here's the step-by-step of how you interact with the theater, and, you know, all of that stuff. So I think it's going to be pretty, you know, digestible for us to do something with between now and December. And like you said, Tatiana, I think it's great because then we've got this model that then we can go to nonprofits and other organizations and say, you know, we're interested in working with you to do something with your organization like this. So cool. I appreciate that. Okay, great. Anything else that anybody wants to share about that before we move on? Okay, great. So let's continue. Okay, so here's just a couple of housekeeping things. So it looks like we're going to finish up pretty early, and maybe we can see if there's anything we want to talk about, but I'm covering everything I wanted to cover tonight. So I just want to say, this has been, we had this long ago, but it predates most of you, if not all of you. So let me bring this up again. I would like you guys see that every Monday morning, right at 9 o'clock, I send out a message to kind of, you know, get the team roaring for the week. So I make a point to make sure, you guys might have noticed that by now, that right at 9 o'clock on the dot, I'm sending a message on Monday. So what I'd like you guys to do, each team leader, is to send a Monday morning message. So it doesn't have to be right on the dot. I would like it to be after 9 a.m. Eastern, since that's when we tell everybody that the weekend is until 9 a.m. So I'll send out the message right at 9 a.m. and then you can send the message at 9:05, 9:15, 10 o'clock, as soon as you're able to. And if you're not able to send it right at that time that week, then maybe you can have somebody else on your team do it. But I really would like to have each team leader make sure that each team is sending out a message right on Monday morning, kind of reminding the team like what's on the top of our minds right now, kind of like, you know, reminding everybody where we left off, you know, when we last left off before the weekend, and what especially, what needs to get done before Tuesday, before the meeting, before the next team meeting. In most cases, Tuesday, Monday for the recruitment team and the outreach team when we get back to separate outreach team. So is that work for each of you guys to plan to send a message on Monday morning? And like I said, if you personally can't hit send because you're in class or something like that, you can have somebody else on the team do it as well. So cool. Tatiana and Mariana putting your thumbs up. I appreciate that. Thumbs up from Cassidy and Maria. Great. Thank you guys. Thank you, Katie, for the thumbs up. I appreciate it. How about you, Isa too? Isa too. Okay, great. Thumbs up. Okay, great. I appreciate that. So thank you guys for doing that. I think that'll be helpful. And I think, it's a way of just ensuring that, everyone's engaged and everyone's back engaged, once the week starts, we're raring to go. Okay, so I think that'll be very helpful. The other thing along those lines is that, team leaders should not be late on assignments, as you guys know, and especially for the team hours, because the team hours is just so simple, it just takes a couple minutes and you can plan for it because you don't have to do it on Monday morning. You can do it on Sunday, you can do it on Friday, you can do it whenever. And we've talked about the team leaders, being models for others. So, it wasn't just this week that we had a couple of team leaders that didn't have the hours in by noon on Monday. It's happened, a couple of times recently. So I just want to, check in with you guys and make sure that it works for you guys and everybody here can agree that you can have your team hours in by noon on Monday, noon Eastern each Monday. So does that work for everybody so that, we won't have team leaders missing that deadline at least? Thumbs up from everybody. Yeah. Okay, great. Okay, thank you, everybody. I appreciate that. That's really helpful. And the last thing, again, just because it came up today and it isn't something that we've necessarily talked about a bit, but there is a minimum number of hours in a week that's essentially required to lead a team because, if you only have like 1 or 2 hours available in the week, it's kind of hard to, to lead. It's kind of hard to be a leader with very minimal number of hours. Not only do you have, certain responsibilities that you want to contribute to the team and you need to contribute to the team when we're at the current levels that we are. So, pretty much with everybody, when I, originally asked people if they're interested in leading, when I interviewed you guys told me what your hours were available. And I probably told you something along the lines of, about a minimum of 5 or so hours per team. Like if you only have 5 to 10 hours per team, then you probably want to be on one team. It's only when you get above like 10 hours a week that then there's essentially enough hours to start dividing up amongst teams. So I just want to say, and I just want to create the expectation that everybody who's leading a team, whether it's permanently leading or even just for a week or a week at a time, that people will have the hours available in order to be able to be leading. So if there's 1 week because you're going on vacation or you have finals or you're going to be in a conference or whatever it is, that you can't meet that minimum that week, that's fine, as long as you've set it up to where the team members are kind of picking it up without you that week, and that it's just kind of a 1 week thing, as long as it's not consistent, right? As long as consistently you're not like, this week you only have 2 hours available and next week you only have 1 hour available, then it starts to get to where it's not necessarily being effective to be a leader in that position if you don't have the time to actually do the stuff that's required. Does that make sense to everybody? Is everybody on board with all of that? Yeah, everybody, Isa too, you too? Isa too, I think I didn't see a finger up from you. I just want to make sure you're with us. Are you there, Isa too?
Yes. Yeah, sorry, I'm just having technical issues. I keep getting logged out of Zoom, which is weird.
Okay, cool. As long as you're there and as long as you're catching all of that. So, okay, I'm glad that we're all clear on that. And then that way going forward, especially, for those of you that are in we're still taking on a week by week basis. If there's a week coming up that you're not going to have that many hours available, let me know in advance and let's talk about it. Because if if you're not going to be able to be an effective leader, better to not be leading and be effective than to be leading and be ineffective, right? We don't want to model, just being absent and not being able to help people and that sort of thing, right? So that's it. I wanted to make sure we covered that so everybody was on the same page with that. Thank you guys for creating that expectation. So that's great. So I think that was it. Yep, that's it. So is there anything else that anybody else wants to cover this evening? Okay, great. I feel like we got through a lot of stuff today, even though we're finishing early, which is great. So very good. I appreciate you guys. I'm super excited, as you can tell, about where we're at with this new expansion of the project. This is going to make a big difference for us, especially by the first showcase, our grand showcase in December, when we have between 50 and 100 or whatever it looks like leadership council members that are on our Zoom watching what we're presenting and putting this out into the world. It's going to be a whole different world for us. So we're in a hyper warp zone right now, going from where we've been isolated, just kind of connecting amongst ourselves, to now just quickly exploding out into the world. So let's all give a hand to each other and thank each other for all the great work that all the teams are doing, all the different teams, and you guys as team leaders. I appreciate you. I honor you. Great job, everybody. Thank you so much. So have a great night. See you later. Thanks, everyone. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.